mirrors and smoke can trip you like dope. With friends like these, who needs enemies? Oh, this ain't no joke. There's things you don't know. And break your blood. With friends like these, who needs enemies? Oh.
Woo!
Yes.
Woo! Live from Los Angeles. Welcome, Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Aaron.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm GMLA. This is Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Also available on Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app. And that was Jack Gray. Who needs friends like this?
Right?
I do.
Hashtag Transformation Tuesday. We're going to talk about post-traumatic growth. And because we come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, align with a fabulous full house of amazing people today.
Indeed. Jack's talent is no joke.
Absolutely not. He rocked the Troubadour last night, which is an iconic location here in West Hollywood. We're so excited to have you here with us this morning. Hello, Jack Gray. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on board.
Oh, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your night last night and how you start your mornings.
Well, the mornings are quite funny because I kind of like rolled out of my bed and jumped and like rolled into the shower and made my way over here. But I'm so happy to be here. Last night was so much fun. The Troubadour is obviously a very iconic venue, and I can tick that one off my bucket list. And yeah, I mean, I won't forget that experience.
Love that. You know what's on my bucket list? An accent like his. I'm telling you, yeah, it's just like instant charm.
It's so funny. Just go hang out in Australia for a little while, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for starting your morning with us here in La La Land. We look forward to continuing the conversation later in the show.
Thank you.
Amazing. I like the new little scene in the back.
It looks great, right?
The new TV screen.
I love that.
It's gorgeous.
Absolutely. Special thanks to our executive producer, Andy Waldman, for the set upgrades.
He's always upgrading.
That's good.
Leveling up.
So, okay, Rob, you
Yes.
are a Ivy League trained positive psychologist.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And today, you know, we talk a lot about trauma. On
Yeah.
Tuesday, we talk about transformation and the subconscious mind and whatever. And I love the term post-traumatic growth.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit on the show, and it's such a fascinating topic because most of us think when you face adversity, something really bad happens, that you experience PTSD almost as a necessity. But really, 30 to 70% of people actually experience post-traumatic growth. And while it doesn't get a lot of the headlines and a lot of the attention, it's actually a much more common phenomenon than PTSD.
So break it down for me, Rob. What is post-traumatic growth?
Yeah, so it's basically the ability to bounce back from something bad, right? And bounce back better than before, and sometimes more blissful than before.
I think it's interesting because we teach how to reprogram the subconscious mind from a spiritual perspective. Basically, if you're in a really high state of negative emotion, there's a decision that's made that is a command that goes in the subconscious mind and it plays out. And it can be a limited command. It can be an expanded command. I remember when I was like 8 years old, my mom was taking my sister to go ice skating. She couldn't afford to take me as well. And I was completely traumatized, literally like crying hysterical as they drove off. And I remember deciding in that moment, I will always have money when I grow up.
Boom. And
So
now
there you go. There you go.
Self-made millionaire.
Well,
there it goes.
I mean, but I think it's important for people to realize that it can go either direction.
That's true.
But what about when you check something off your bucket list? You know, Jack Gray just mentioned that at the top of the show. I played the Troubadour, I checked it off the bucket list. I hosted the Daytime Emmys, I checked it off the bucket list. Then what?
Yeah.
I mean, you can really come crashing down after that. But how do you really make sure you continue to grow even when you've reached your wildest dreams?
Yeah, it's such a good point. I mean, a lot of post-traumatic growth is really about what you did and who you were before the adversity struck. And so, you know, if you can sort of develop an optimistic explanatory style in advance of something bad happening, you'll be able to weather whatever happens much better.
But it might not be adversity. It might actually be something so wildly positive that then you create self-sabotage around it because you can't even, like, maybe subconsciously achieve those levels of success.
Yeah, and you talk about this a lot too. Like, you know, it's hard to maintain a level of success or happiness that your consciousness isn't sort of in tune or alignment with, right?
Yeah, we call it the mental equivalent. But I think that the post-traumatic growth is, like, I completely agree. We have to keep growing and we have to, like, realize that those things aren't going to fulfill us. But the post-traumatic growth is really about what happens out of that adversity, right? Like a flower can't like
Yeah.
the tree doesn't become stronger without the wind and the storm.
Right, exactly. There's a reason that like a lotus can grow from mud, but lots of other plants and flowers
Right,
can't, right?
yeah.
Because there's something special about the lotus, and that's true with all of us. Is that to the extent that you can develop resilience and learned optimism, and you can develop like cognitive agility and emotional regulation, your ability to weather and process really difficult and challenging things allows you to come out better and sort of more blissful as a result of those experiences and events. It is true, you can also sometimes experience success, and that can feel like a traumatic experience to you, and so you can feel sometimes, flattened emotionally, or even worse than that, you can feel like worse off emotionally in lots of ways, or even relationally. And so the challenge really often revolves around even things like self-concept, right? Because self-concept and self-image works as sort of a barometer. And so you usually have this like happiness contract or success contract in your head. Once you reach a certain level of happiness or success, you're always afraid that the other shoe is going to drop.
Right.
And a lot of that is about self-concept, self-image. It's about what you think is possible for you.
Now,
or
if
what
the
you
other
deserve.
shoe is a red bottom, I don't
Then you're
mind,
good.
but
Yeah.
I'd
And if it's
rather
dropping,
avoid.
you might want it back.
Speaking of, we have some amazing guests. I think all of the guests here today, I'm
Oh, my
sure,
goodness.
I'm sure we've all been through emotional trauma at some point in our life, and clearly all of our guests have chosen the growth instead of the.
Every morning on the drive here, it's
Right.
emotional trauma with traffic in LA.
To really hashtag transform. Well, playing us into the break, Jack Gray.
This ain't no joke. There's things you don't know. You break, then you're broke. With friends like these, who needs enemies? Oh. Don't get too close.
Where can you watch the stories of people changing the world? EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk. I'm Jessica Moyer, the co-founder and host of EverTalk TV, and I am thrilled to introduce you to America's first live video streaming talk show network.
I'm so excited to be here on the couch with all you amazing people.
Yeah.
I'm just in complete awe. Thank you.
Happy to be here. And for those who don't know what goes on, this is a big old, there's a lot going on here.
a lot
You do
going
this
on
every
here.
day.
Live.
God
5
bless
days
you
a week.
guys. I mean, people, there's a lot going on.
Thank you for having me. This is an awesome studio.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, you
I feel that, actually. I can feel that.
How exciting Motivation Monday. And the guests this morning have been incredible.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you.
And we have Rachel Boston, who is in The Last Bridesmaid on Hallmark. It actually is dropping tomorrow, the 22nd, right?
It is. Tomorrow night's our premiere.
Woo! How
Congratulations. I am so excited to welcome Jason and Ashley Waller to the show. Congratulations on the new beginnings. We're so excited for the premiere on MTV tonight.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you.
The book is actually being shipped out today. It published this week.
What?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You guys are
Super
the
cool.
first show that I've actually done
Congratulations.
talking about the book.
I think this is my first time my book's been up on TV. This is awesome.
Our friends at Universal Pictures have a special delivery for us this morning from a tethered himself.
Ooh.
Have you seen the film Us by Academy Award
my
winner
gosh.
Jordan Peele?
You know, I'm sitting here next to you guys, and it's just like, this is a powerful moment for me. Like, I'm humbled by it, because it's like I'm sharing this movie with you guys, and it's moving for me.
What are you most grateful for today?
I am so grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to be with all these wonderful, badass boss babes and with all of you. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to share the positive messages out in the world, because I think the world really needs it right
Amazing.
now.
What we've done and thanking me for the contribution we're making to their lives.
Oh,
And I thought,
nice. That's
this
great.
is what my purpose is. This is why I was born. Now,
Show
the
off.
camera.
up to you to choose the winner. Is it Annie? Is it Haley?
That's why I like this show. You know, years ago I did the Dinah Show, which is Dinah Shore, and it was a daytime show. And it was kind of like this. And it was just like very up, and it was all positive stuff. They didn't bring negative stuff to the audience. And that's why I feel with this show. It's very relaxed. You know, it's very professional, but it's quite a bit of fun.
You can binge watch and binge watch.
You can binge watch.
And you can binge watch, or you can binge watch. Please binge watch.
You can binge watch and binge them on EverTalk TV. Thanks for coming. Bye.
First TV experience. I'm so happy I did it with you.
will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere on EverTalk TV, your home for talk. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are here with Jack Gray. He is a singer, songwriter, producer, hot off his show at the Troubadour. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about the journey you've been on. Now you're on tour.
Yeah.
What's
I mean,
it like?
It's a lot of like small steps that all build up to this, this culmination. So like, I started out in a small town in Australia. I grew up there in a very musical family, and when I finished school, I started studying a Bachelor of Music, but then 6 months realized it wasn't for me. I moved to Sydney. I got a laptop, started learning how to produce and record. I just wrote songs every day, as many songs as I could. And then I found myself a record deal, and I got myself over here.
Now you
found myself a record deal.
Found one, it was just lying around.
Gold.
I mean, what do you
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tripped on that one.
So how would you advise other young artists to find themselves a record deal? I mean, what did you do that was really special and made you stand out?
All I can chalk it up to is songs. I think every young artist has to learn how to be really efficient and write as many songs as they can, because as soon as you start writing, like every single day, you figure out what you don't want to write about and what doesn't work, and you slowly start to find what could work and what you want to talk about, and that's what really resonates in the long run.
So what has been the most inspiring aspect of life for your songs?
I just got to say, it's the live shows. It's got to be performing, and like it's still early days for me, I will say. So seeing just a couple of people in the front row singing along to words, I'm like, I don't expect people to know the words when I play a show. But when they do, it's really special, and it makes me feel, warm inside.
Yeah.
Where do you think you find the most inspiration for your music? Is it your relationships? Is it your dreams? What really drives you? What's your muse?
It's everything. It's just living. It's like, it could be from talking to a friend about what they're going through, or it could be about what I saw on the television, or it just comes from anywhere. As long as I feel inspired, then things will just come from wherever.
Well, the topic today is really post-traumatic growth. So obviously you've persevered. We've all had trauma at some level, some emotional trauma.
Yeah.
Was there any challenge? Well, for sure, yeah. I mean, if you're human, you've had some trauma at some level. And is there anything in a decision in your life when you're like, I'm deciding to persevere. I'm going to decide to succeed.
I don't think my drive was stemmed from like trauma, or I guess maybe a bit of challenge, because people will always tell you can't do it, and you'll have these little road bumps, these speed bumps, and I don't know, for me it's always, I just love music so much that I just want to, that's all I want to do. I can't see myself doing anything else. So for me, my music and this path is just for the love of it, really. But I get, like, say, I think I heard you guys talking before about like when you reach like a certain, like a big goal of yours, and then after that goal, you don't feel any different. Like you feel.
You're still the same Jack.
Yeah, you think.
Which is a good thing.
It's hilarious. But, but like, so you play the Troubadour. You've wanted to play the Troubadour your whole life, and then you play it, and you don't feel any different. So it's like, so these massive goals that I have, is that gonna make? Am I ever gonna feel truly happy?
Right.
Right. So I totally understand that, and I think about that a lot. I talk about that a lot with my friends. But I feel like it's just surrounding yourself with family, good people, because that's where you get all the love you need.
Well, the girls out there want to know the status. We hear you have a girlfriend back in Australia.
I do.
But you're living here in La La Land now.
I am. But I'm very lucky because my sister is a flight attendant on Australia.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Maddie, for this. Because I get very cheap flights back to and fro Australia, and I can make a trip back very frequently and see her. And we have FaceTime. I mean, we're lucky with technology.
So when you're not performing, what do you love to do?
Make music. I don't know. Like, music's the only thing I do these days. It's hilarious. Like, I should get out and do something else, but
I don't know. The music thing seems like it's working out for you.
Yeah, nothing else excites me. I mean,
stay in bed and make some music.
Yeah, maybe having a beer.
As you
with
say
my
in your
friends.
bio.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
So Jack, tell us what's next for you. Where can LA come and see you?
So after this, I'm heading to San Francisco. I've got a show. I'm on tour with Maisie Peters at the moment, a really talented singer-songwriter from the UK. And so we've got a show there. Then I'm coming straight back tomorrow, and I've got a show with supporting Dean Lewis and Scott Hellman at the Wilton.
That's a huge announcement, by the way, because I'm not sure if anybody knew that yet.
Well, yes. So that's like a new thing. It's like I'm good friends with Dean, and he kind of just threw me. He's like, "Hey, bro, do you want to come help a brother out and jump on because we're in the same city at the same time?" So that's very new. So yes, get your tickets.
You heard it here first, and we're giving 2 of our lucky viewers tickets. Be sure to hashtag whatever song you like best of Jack Gray's live in our comment feed, and we'll select the lucky winner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
I'll see you guys there.
Yeah, please tell everyone where they can find and follow your personal journey.
So I'm on all media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and all that jazz. Twitter. It's just Jack Gray Music. Gray, Gray. So many people spell it EY, not the color. But yeah, super easy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. We
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Good Morning La La Land. People changing the world. EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
Tell me where I'm holding.
If you could describe the legacy you want to leave behind in a couple of words, what would it be?
You know, the person who made a massive dent in the world of loneliness. You know, it's the #1 health epidemic that we're facing in the world today. It's the #1 predictor of our mortality. It's more likely to kill you than smoking, heart disease, traffic, the flu, sitting. And if I can make a dent in the world of loneliness, then that to me is everything.
Aw, I love your message and I love your story. And for you guys out there, go download Hey Vina. It's really, really remarkable. I downloaded it. They ask questions that actually help target who you're looking for and who you're looking to network with and become friends with. Thank you. If you like this, please share it, please comment it, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
EverTalk is hashtag community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere at EverTalk TV.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La. On Transformation Tuesday, there's nothing greater than transform our life than some amazing music. So Andrew Cole is in the house. You guys are working on an amazing project called hashtag No Joke, along with a documentary that says, I am no joke. So tell us a little bit about the project.
Yeah, well, you know, I decided a few years ago, what kind of turned into it, that, you know, something needed to be done about this, you know, bullying epidemic. There's a lot of kids that I didn't feel had enough conversation about it. You know, people when they get suicidal or depressed, which I'd had in my earlier life with bullies and you know, my father and some people in your family can be, you know, bullies or learned behavior gets a hold of you and you feel like you're on your own, you're in the dark. You need somewhere to turn to or talk to, and I always looked up to my musical heroes or my sports heroes or icons or just great minds. So I had this crazy idea to try and put like a We Are the World song together. Like, I'm an 80s baby. Like,
we love that song. That was epic.
Amazing.
Epic.
And the journey to creating this is absolutely epic. Let's take a look at the trailer.
I used to tell people, what do you think, I'm a joke? Do I look like a joke to you? So that one day they came in like a pack of wolves. They just went, woof. Hi, I'm Andrew Cole.
Hello, how you doing? How are you? Sure.
I'm Andrew Cole, and I've written a song to make a difference for people who are being bullied right now. But the thing is that I'm nobody, so I have to build an army. For months, I ran around trying to get familiar faces on this song.
Rihanna, Taylor, do it.
They think I'm nuts. And it's all about forgiveness. I think you can fix yourself. 50,000 people were retweeting, when's the song out? We want to buy it. And then you tell someone, I'm going to make a song to change the world, and everyone says, well, you can't do that.
It's a good idea.
Fantastic. Well, it was worth the trip then. It could be absolutely colossal.
Andrew, we're talking about post-traumatic growth, and clearly you made a decision in that bullying time. What was your decision?
You know, I think you go through a lot of stages in your life where you grow in different ways, and I think my decision was just to stay alive and give everything another chance and be inspired and learn and try and change the cognitive process of learned behavior, essentially. When you learn something, it's very difficult to unlearn it. So if you're being abused by your parents or someone at school and you feel small, you can take that to adulthood, and that's a scary thing. So my decision was to try and become a baby again, essentially, and relearn through intelligence, which is a bit of an oxymoron. I kind of go back down to basics and go, we are love. What is love? How do we love ourselves? There's a lot of questions I asked Ozzy. I was really inspired by like Ozzy Osbourne and Lemmy from Motorhead, and I would always say, do you love yourself? And a lot of my heroes were like, we're working on it.
I thought that was one of the most interesting things in watching this is, Jane Lynch and these huge, iconic celebrities and names, and they still haven't experienced that self-love. And they still experience greater than ever maybe that doubt and that depression. And one would assume if they have the world in their hands, they're not facing that. How did you create kind of that bridge of magic, if you will, to really connect with these artists? Because it speaks very highly of you. Not everyone can sit across Ozzy Osbourne and have that conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting, like as a young kid growing up in Liverpool, I was born in Toronto, Canada. I'd sort of been pushed all over the world with my parents. My dad was a truck driver, my mum was a nurse. We didn't really come from extreme wealth or anything. So you would look at the television in Liverpool and you'd be watching these icons and you'd be thinking, wow, these famous people, like they don't have any problems. They've got all this money and everyone adores them and they adore themselves. And you kind of grow up, everybody wants to be adored. We all want to be adored. We're human beings. We want love. So you can find yourself growing up looking at social media and looking at, celebrity in a sense and being like, well, I want to be like that because they're perfect. So it's really nice to kind of, peel the onion and have these amazing icons and, celebrity people being like, no, like we're human. Like we all go through the same pain and the same fear. And I think that was really interesting. And that was kind of one of the things I really wanted to do, was to put myself in a situation that even myself I didn't think would be possible.
Just fantastic. So I wonder what you've learned in your journey, because there's kind of like two levels to this thing that I'm kind of hearing. One is that dealing with sort of the outside bullying, the bullying that comes from the outside, and then there's the bullying that we do to ourselves after that, because we sometimes internalize that bullying and we hate ourselves and we experience this like self-loathing all the time. What have you learned from the folks that you've worked with on this project and in your own life about how to sort of deprogram yourself from that like inner bullying that we all sometimes do to ourselves?
Yeah. It's interesting, and I heard what you said before, and it was so right. And it's hard to not be afraid of your own light, almost. That's one of the things I've suffered with as a musician in my music career. We're constantly growing into these different states, and sometimes it can go the wrong way. And I just think, I've learned to kind of give everything a second chance and really, breathe. There was a young girl, I got inspired the other day. One of my friends, Ralph, was talking to me about his daughter, Hennessy, who's a singer. And I always had this thing where I'm like panicking. My dad died at a young age and it scared me. And I was always living fast and trying to get what I could out of life as fast as I could with the pressures of life. And this young girl just turned around and said, you be who you want to be, you live slow, and you die old. And I was like, wow. It was a different perspective. Like you just, and for kids who are scared and suicidal, it's like, live slow and die old, and don't do anything to yourself. And if it takes time to find out who you are, then take the time and find out who you are. And if you make a mistake, then, just do it again and just try something else. And if you make a mistake again, you're gonna die old. So just keep staying alive and just use love. Love is who we are. And
Thank you for being a leader in that conversation and sharing your art with the world. We really do appreciate it.
for
Please
having me.
tell everyone where we can find and follow your journey and #NoJoke.
Well, I mean, there's the charity organization is Creative Visions Foundation, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at I Am No Joke Project, at I Am No Joke Project. And of course, check out #NoJoke. The documentary comes out today on demand. You can actually watch it today.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's really cool.
Congrats.
Thank you so much, Andrew. We appreciate you.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Can you watch the stories of people changing the world? EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
Welcome to the show. Today we have Life Master Tony Lanny. Today we have a very special guest, Alon Torres. Today we have a very special guest, Mark Harari, on the show, and he is you have really inspired me because you walk the walk, you talk the talk.
It's never too late, no matter what your age. Doesn't matter if you're young, it doesn't matter if you're older.
You know, over the last 10 plus years, 12 years, it's been this journey where as I was continuing to help others, I was helping myself. You know, as I went deeper, I was able to bring people deeper.
But you've got to put it aside. You've got to put it aside.
Right, that's one of his tips, is leave the at the door.
Drop it at the door.
But we can't give you too many more little tips because we're going to give away the whole thing. But there is a video, if you click below.
I'm Life Master Tony Lanny.
Yay! See how easy that was?
EverTalk is hashtag community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere at EverTalk TV. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. Starring in ABC's Bless This Mess, we have JT Neal in the house. Congratulations. We've been talking about dream jobs this morning. Is this a dream job for you?
It is absolutely a dream job. Literally my dream job. I had manifested that I was going to work with Liz Merriweather since New Girl.
Stop.
And I watched that show from the very first episode, and it was my favorite show at the time. And I said, I just want to be on a show like that. And then this came up, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way that it's really going to happen exactly how I'm thinking. Wow. And then it did.
Lake Bell, Dax Shepard, Ed Begley Jr. has been on the show. I mean, the cast is incredible.
Oh yeah, Pam Grier, David Koechner, Lennon Parham. It's the best cast.
Where do you go from here? You're screwed.
And then there's me. And then
there's you. Well, and you have a really interesting role too. You get to be kind of the comedic relief in the farm boy. Are you anything like your character?
I think Jacob is. He's much more even-keeled than I am. I think that he's much more happy-go-lucky. I tend to stress out about things sometimes, and
oh, you're human, you mean?
I'm a human being. And Jacob is just kind of smiling. Like in season 1, I cut my thumb off, and I'm just like, it doesn't hurt at all. And I'm crying.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
We're talking a little bit about post-traumatic growth, and maybe you haven't had trauma, but has there been a moment in your life where you really had to decide, I'm going to persevere?
Yeah, I was working on this show when I first moved out here about 6 years ago, that I was working really consistently on it. I wasn't a regular, but I was recurring on it. I thought we were going to come back for another season and I would be back, and then the show got canceled. And I didn't work for almost a full year. I didn't have one other job. I got really close, but in that time, it was really like, am I doing the right thing? Was this just a fluke that I left my family in Texas to move out here, and I dropped out of school, and I was like, I'm gonna pursue this, and then all of a sudden it wasn't working. And so I started to have a kind of a freak out moment of like, is this what I'm really supposed to be doing? It's what I love doing, but am I supposed to be doing it? And then, things started rolling again. I really kind of dove into my classes and just focused on becoming a better actor, and then the ball started kind of rolling from there.
And then you literally manifested your dream.
And I manifested my dream job, and now I'm here.
But did you visualize that, or how did you manifest it? Because I think everyone has a sort of a different process, and some folks, they just have a knowingness inside. Some people visualize, but what did you do?
I do this thing where I'll picture the situation playing out in my head, exactly how I want it, like the ideal situation, right? The ideal outcome. Conversations and little things, like as specific as I can get, the better. And I was doing that when I was watching New Girl. I just kept saying, I'm going to be on a show like this. I'm going to be on a show like this. And I was creating a show with my friends, and we were trying to kind of emulate what they were doing with the writing style. And And I just kept coming back to it. I just kept saying, this is the type of show that I need to be on, is this type of comedy with this heart. And then when Bless This Mess, when I got the audition for Bless This Mess, it was all of these actors that I had admired for so long, and with Liz Merriweather as the creator, and Lake Bell, and it just, I was like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for.
So what's next for you? What are you manifesting next?
Hopefully another season.
All right.
Another season of Bless This Mess. We're on season 2 now, and I just don't want to stop ever. I'm hoping for like, the supernatural longevity. You know, let's do 15 seasons.
Oh, absolutely. Fingers crossed for you, my friend. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow your personal journey, and of course, watch the show on ABC.
Yeah, I'm just JT Neal on Instagram, and then I'm JT Neal IV, because I'm the 4th, on Twitter. And that's pretty much where I post all my stuff about the show and about what's happening with me.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you,
JT.
guys.
Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow. Good morning, La La Land.
Stories of people changing the world. EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
Today I'm officially coming out of the closet as a mother. I've never publicly announced it. I've been a model for 15 years, and now I'm finally letting people know I have 2 kids. I have a 16-year-old son, and my 13-year-old son will be 14 in another month and a half. You know, obviously explaining that I have a 16-year-old, people are gonna be like, wait, how old are you? And I'm under 40, I'm 36. Okay, let's just get that out there.
Oh, wow.
Coming out of the closet again.
You came out twice already today.
I know, oh my gosh.
I hope that our viewers are watching this to realize that when you have a passion and when it pays the bills and you can live a good life and provide for your children, there should be no shame in what you do.
Right.
EverTalk is #community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere on EverTalk TV.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. On Transformation Tuesday, we're all about making it happen. So Henry Amar is in the house. He has a podcast called Making It Happen.
Yep.
You're also a musician, you're a speaker, you do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur.
What?
For sure.
I just love to create good things, and create things that impact the world. And thank you for what you do. I know that there's so much news that puts out negativity, and you guys are always putting out positive stuff. So I appreciate the energy you give to the world. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Really.
We really appreciate that.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell us about your podcast.
On my podcast, so I'm obsessed with human behavior. I love what you were talking about earlier. Like, I wanted to jump in your conversation. You were speaking. I was like, oh. To me, it's, I grew up super insecure, super passive, a lot of fears from stuff that stemmed from my childhood. And then one day I was like, wait a minute, there's God, if everybody, we're all human, we can grow. If that person's confident, if that person's happy, if that person's successful, then I could probably do it too. So I started reading, I got super obsessed, and I broke so many glass ceilings that I had, and I was able to help so many people, and I got really obsessed with it. So I realized the podcast platform is such a beautiful way to go out and dissect people's lives and what really works, what creates real transformation, not just inspiration.
But take us to that moment. Was there an actual trauma? Was there an actual moment where you had to decide?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? So when I was a teenager, I remember I felt so caged because fear enslaves us, right? And so I remember just feeling caged, and I wanted to break out, but I didn't know how. And someone put a book in front of me, and it had these questions in the back that just rocked me. And then my grandmother, who was super close with me, had passed away. And she was like, I looked like her, which was like my partner in crime. And then I read this book, and it's a story about Michael Jordan, the basketball player. And I don't know if you know the story, but his father had pulled over to the side of the road because he was tired, and someone had robbed and murdered him.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this story about it, and I'm like completely in shock because when you correlate something to your life, it just kind of brings back feelings. And he said in that interview, he said, I realized at that moment I had a choice. I could either play the owner or play the victim. And in my head, I was like, choice? Because at that point, I didn't realize I had choice. And then choice came into my life, and I realized one of the greatest gifts we have in life is choice. To choose, my past doesn't have to equal my future. I could make changes now if I really wanted to. And that was a catalyst of what
Man, I love that illustration, and I precisely remember the interview, a series of interviews, and I remember him saying that, and then also saying, if I can accept the bad, I can or accept the good, I can certainly accept the bad. And I suddenly had so much more insight into his thought process.
Right.
How did you get there? How did you get to a place where you're able to look at life and experience some of the greatest challenges maybe of your life and still see the good and focus on what's ahead instead of letting what's happened in the past kind of hold
I
you
think
down?
we have to be honest, like lovingly honest. I think love is the key. You guys talked about it many times, but I have to be honest with myself. If I continue on this path, where will I really be? Right? And I didn't want to look back at my life because, you know, at that moment when you're experiencing like life is brought to you forefront, we think we'll live forever, right? I said, when I'm on my rocking chair, what do I really want to say I did with my life? I want to say I gave it all back. I want to say I used every talent, gift, strength back to the world. And so I couldn't say that the way I was living. And so I think I had enough leverage of pain of what I didn't want and like purpose of what I did want. And I experienced liberation and I got obsessed to give it to other people. And it kind of took me down this hole of finding truths out that really, really impact people. And I think it's been one of the greatest blessings in my life.
So in this podcast, the guests you've had on the show, has there been a common denominator to their success, to their key transformations?
You know, that's a great question. It's been great because I interview the dynamic of so many different people, and I merge pop culture and empowerment. So I work with a lot of artists behind the scenes, and it's interesting because we were talking about it earlier. Like a lot of artists are extremely sensitive to life, and I think one thing is there was always a moment that made them say, you know what, enough is enough. Like I interviewed Lindsay Sterling, and she's amazing, but she was on America's Got Talent, and in front of 2 million people, she got told she would never sell out a stadium. And if you look at her Instagram, she just sold out stadiums.
I've been to her sold out shows. They're incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing. But just to hear like her in the bathroom crying and then just, but there's a decision that they made. At one moment, like you said earlier, you have a decision to make. Like a decision can change everything and will change everything, right? So how good are we at making decisions and choosing our life versus going on autopilot and letting the patterns run it?
Yeah.
So I think all of them at one point had a decision to make, and it was either to choose, you know, the side of enslavement or the side of liberation. And ultimately, when you choose and you're going through something and you choose the higher part, that turns into wisdom. And that's probably why everybody we see that we admire has gone through something and has transcended it, right?
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
We see this over and over. Even, you know, I think people, like you're right, I think a lot of people don't even think that there's choice, even in health issues. Believe the diagnosis, but not the prognosis, we say over and over here, and it's so true.
Yeah.
So now you're choosing, what are you choosing, right? You've got music, you've got all these things.
Yeah,
what are you
I just
most excited about?
I just love to create. Everyone's like, what do you do? I was like, music and podcasts and speaking.
So la la.
Yeah, but you know, it's super trendy to be a multi-hyphenate. Let's be honest. If you only say you're one thing, you're not doing enough.
I guess we're in LA. That's what happens here, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm excited about the podcast. I'm writing a book, which I'm super excited about. My music has been awesome, so that's been really cool. I've got to perform and speak at big festivals. We're creating something really big next year at a music festival. I'm working with a festival in Europe called the Exit Festival. They're best major European festival. And it was really cool. We did a project with Yoko Ono that was bringing peace to that region, which is so cool. So a lot of really cool big projects coming up that I'm really excited about. But my thing is, you know, I love creating and I love empowerment, so what better way to get it out to the masses than through pop culture? So for sure.
I'm into that.
We cannot wait to watch your journey and to be a part of it. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you.
You can find me on Instagram, Henry Amar, AMMAR. My podcast, Making It Happen with Henry Amar, or Spotify. My music is out, Henry Amar, and just type it in and you'll see it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Watch the stories of people changing the world. EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
All I can say to you guys is remember you are not alone. It's that simple. Just keep remembering you are not alone.
EverTalk is hashtag community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere on EverTalk TV.
Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning Lawland. It's hashtag Transformation Tuesday, and we are transforming from the inside out. We've got nutritionist and author of Eat Your Vitamins with us, Masha Davis. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Clearly, you've mastered something. You're absolutely glowing. So what was your journey to really kind of becoming the nutritionist and the expert that you are?
I have a really holistic approach to health. So I look at not only what we're eating and drinking, but also sleep, stress, all of these other components that are so integral, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it comes, I mean, we've noticed that spirituality even plays into our health and everything. So what's the formula that you've come up with for yourself or for your clients?
So for myself, I've been working on all these different techniques and looking at all the latest research on health, nutrition, stress, and something that I've incorporated into my daily practice is meditation. And also gratitude, lots of hydration. And one of my favorite things that I actually really promote and encourage many of my clients to do is to eat a lot of seafood and really healthy sources of all these vitamins, nutrients, omega-3 fatty acids.
It looks like you brought some in a pouch this morning, actually. Chicken of the sea, wild caught pig salmon. Do you travel with this in your purse?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. It's a really easy source of healthy, lean protein, amazing omega-3 fatty acids, all these vitamins and nutrients. But the reason I brought this is because I wanted to show you guys this label, the Marine Stewardship Council, which means that it's a really sustainable product and it's sourced in a sustainable way.
Jessica Simpson would love that one.
Yeah. Oh, that's so important though, because we do want to, be conscious about what we're putting in our body and where the food is coming from. So are you working with them?
So the Marine Stewardship Council is an international nonprofit, and I've partnered with them this month. October happens to be National Seafood Month.
I get behind that.
To spread the message of sustainable seafood and how we can increase this superfood in our diets and also do it in a way that's not only good for us, but also good for the environment.
So key.
We're talking a little bit about traumatic post-growth. How do you say it?
Post-traumatic growth.
There you go.
All good. Save all the words
and
in
most people, whether it be health or whether it be, inspiration or the author, whatever, usually it's something they had to go through that had them be inspired to have their mission that they're up to. Was there anything you went through that had you decide that was really hard for you that you went through?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this topic. I was so excited that you were talking about it today because I think it's not discussed enough. But for me personally, I went through a lot when I was young. My family came to the States as political refugees from the former Soviet Union when I was 7 years old. We came with almost nothing and moved around a lot. So I went to like 6 different elementary schools, which, as you can imagine, not speaking the language, not really understanding the culture was really challenging. But as I grew older, I really started to understand how incredibly fortunate I was and to develop this sense of gratitude and also a really strong sense of responsibility to give back and to make a positive impact. So
I love that.
Ultimately that took me to Africa where I did humanitarian aid work for 5 years and then back to LA where I launched my private practice.
Great.
Fantastic.
Well,
I love that.
tell people how they can work with you.
So my website is nomadistanutrition.com. That's my page. Same on Instagram, nomadista_nutrition, so people can reach me that way. And then I'm also getting ready to launch my own sustainable seafood product. And on Instagram, that's minifish.co.
Minifish.
Love it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
cute.
We appreciate you. Stay tuned. We'll be back more. Good Morning Lawland. Where can you watch the stories of people changing the world? EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
EverTalk is hashtag community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere on EverTalk TV.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La. Around here, we are driven 365 days a week, and we have Tony Whatley in the house who has 365 Driven podcast. You're a business coach, an author, a speaker, and you have a couple other companies, right?
That's right.
Jeez, I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's like-
I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I just stay busy. That's the best way to say
Were
it.
you born that way, or is this something you developed?
I think I had to evolve into that. My parents were both blue collar. They worked really hard. Mom came from the public school system cafeteria. Dad worked in the chemical refineries. And they taught me that if I wanted to have things, I had to go out there and get it for myself. So they always encouraged me to go out there. So I was the 12-year-old pushing the mower around the neighborhood, knocking on doors, washing cars, whatever I could. And that really carried into adulthood. So if anything I want, I have to go get it.
I love that. I was that kid too. When did you decide what it was exactly that you wanted, though? Because I think that's a clarifying moment where you're like, oh, I could do lots of things, but maybe I just want to do this one thing.
I think I was always counted out. My mom's Japanese immigrant, so I grew up in a different mixed household, and I grew up in a neighborhood that really didn't adapt to me as well. So I had to figure out how to be a chameleon and fit in most of my life. And I always felt like I wanted that leadership opportunity, but I always didn't feel like it was always given to me. So I had to go out there and get that as well. But that didn't come until the adulthood. So to me, it's just doing things to just really put yourself out there is when you start to see the results you want. And fortunately, I grew up in areas that had some affluence. So I could ride my bicycle around as a kid and go look at these giant homes and see extra cars in the driveway. And I'm like, what is this world? Like, what do these people do? And, and a lot of people talk about, well, that's reserved for other people. That's not us. That's not our family. And it starts to program your subconscious mind. And I just didn't believe that. I just asked people. I was always curious, like, what do you do? What is it that you do to do this? And I never thought I couldn't do it.
So I was on your podcast the other day, and one of the conversations we had after was you're talking about you and your wife and how you're like, okay, we almost feel like downsizing and go venture in the world. So after all this time, you've become a successful entrepreneur, you've helped entrepreneurs. What do you think really matters out of all this, when it's all said and done?
I think when you don't have money and you grow up like that, you think that the money and the material goods is always going to bring you some happiness. And I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't bring you some happiness. It's nice to have the options to have that. But I'll tell you, being fulfilled for me has always been helping other people. It's teaching people the stuff that I know and making them improve and seeing the potential in other people. And to me, I was even that kid that was learning skateboard tricks, and I would master them and I would go teach all my friends how to do that. So I've always been a teacher, even though I became an engineer and a business owner. So here I am coming full circle in my 40s, really starting to focus on helping and teaching other people.
And what are you teaching them?
Really entrepreneurship skills. They called me the side hustle millionaire because the businesses I started earned millions of dollars in profit as a part-time business because I held a very, successful engineering oil and gas career for over 25 years. And I left that 3 years ago to go focus on things that are going to build my fulfillment and what I want to do and create an impact in this world.
I love that because so many times people say, oh, I've got this side hustle, and they kind of roll their eyes at it. It's a passion project. If you can side hustle $1 million, wow, that side hustle is goals.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you that when I started to write the book, Side Hustle Millionaire, I really started to do a lot of research. We do validating the test market. So I bought all these different books on side hustles, and I was thinking, man, I can't wait to learn because I love reading books. And I read these books, and I'm just like, oh man, these books, they're just they're just teaching people to think too damn small. Like you can make an extra $300 a month. I'm like, no, let's aim for $30,000 a month. Like it's the same level of effort and the mindset. And I love that this episode is on mindset and transformation because there's a lot of people out there that just don't believe in what they're actually doing. And you got to have somebody on the external that's going to say, look, I see more potential in you.
I love that. So if there's somebody out there who wants to turn their side hustle into their main hustle, and they want to go from a $300 mindset to, let's say, a $30,000 a month mindset, what would you recommend?
I think you always have to set some kind of a trigger point within your business plan. So a lot of times I just tell my clients to take a snapshot of their financial status as it currently is and set a hard checkpoint. When we get to this point, you have to make a decision. Are we going to go full time or is it something that you can still do part time? Because for me, I like to make as much as possible without working as much. That's the simple fact. I've done the 24/7 hustle and grind, and it's a bunch of bunk. Like that'll wear you out.
It's overrated.
Sleep
I
deprived. I mean, I like earning money while I'm sitting here on this couch talking to you. I don't have to check in anywhere, and so the businesses that I created only took about 15 minutes to an hour a day. So that's how I think.
That's
How do I scale my
That's a
time?
very side hustle.
Please tell everyone how they can work with you and create $1 million side hustle.
Well, easiest to find is my website is 365driven.com. You can also find my book and my podcast, which is called 365 Driven. Big on branding.
Notice
Keep it all away.
Sounds like you might need to get a driver. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. That was a bad
Well, I
joke.
can't wait till your episode comes
I know,
out as well.
Tell people where they can find you, your personal journey as well.
Okay, so I'm very active on Instagram, so at 365driven.com, and I'm very active on Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank
Great to meet
you.
in person. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Watch the stories of people changing the world. EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
Hi everybody, I am so excited to have with me today Amanda Schoen, creator of Rivers 8, a luxury travel accessory line for those who crave luxury without cruelty. My next guest is Missy Reeves. You guys may know and love Missy from her very long career as Jennifer Horton on Days of Our Lives. Dan Holtz is a dear friend, co-founder of Beverly Hills Rejuvenation Center, and is known as the wellness expert to the stars.
EverTalk is hashtag community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere at EverTalk TV.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. This millennial has hacked Instagram and is using Instagram to hack his life, traveling worldwide and really scaling your business. Zach Benson, thanks for being on the show today. Tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming such a growth hacker within this world of Instagram.
Oh yeah, for sure. So before this marketing stuff, I was a break dancer. I traveled the world, taught dance clinics everywhere I go. So on So You Think You Can Dance. And that kind of kickstarted and that kind of kickstarted my career to teach dance all over the world. Ended up hurting my back, falling, which ended my career. And same guy who got me into dancing got me into Instagram. And you know, fast forward today, we have a 56 million network, working with Ritz-Carlton, Robert Kiyosaki, Gary Vee, bunch of big names. So life has really changed now, and I'm really grateful.
Wow. Talk about post-traumatic growth.
Yes.
I mean, geez, it's amazing. I have 1,000 questions for you.
Yeah.
We need to know what's the deal. Everyone's on Instagram. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Give us the core hacks to it.
Yeah, I'd say like the biggest hack is like all in the hashtags. A lot of people are using hashtags that have hundreds of millions of posts, like let's say motivation or podcast. Those have like 200 million, right? So you want to research hashtags and use hashtags that have smaller number of posts on them. So use a mega hashtag and see all of the other related hashtags to that mega generic hashtag, and try to find hashtags that have between like 50 to 100,000 posts on them.
But Zach, let me ask you this too, because I've heard you can over hashtag. So how many hashtags are actually appropriate within the caption?
Yeah, it's
For
always,
the story and for the post.
That's true. It's always changing. So, you know what we do is actually like we put 2 to 3 hashtags in the caption, the description, and we copy and paste like 15 to 20 in the first comment. And so we find that works out best.
What about IG stories?
Yeah, on IG stories, we put a couple of hashtags in there as well. But the main thing is just it's consistency, right? Posting every single day, using stories, using lives, using IGTV, because with great content comes more growth. But it's really about just being active and utilizing all the features.
But let me ask you this, Zach, because so many people are now just obsessed with their Instagram.
Yeah.
And rightly so. They're monetizing off it. They're using it as a platform. What happens next? Post Instagram. I mean, do you have any insight on that, foresight, and what are you going to do?
Oh yeah, well, so Assistagram's my company. We started out as an Instagram growth agency.
Sistergram?
A sistergram.
I love
Sister,
name.
yeah, that's great.
And I mean, now we're a full stack growth agency doing a lot of things, but Instagram's going to be around a while, right? Facebook owns it. I mean, they're a legendary company that's going to be here for the long haul, I think. But there's other apps and things coming up like TikTok. I think that's going to be the next big thing.
I just got on there yesterday.
Yeah.
I did my first.
It's
little-
fun, right?
Yeah, I did my
Did you
first post yesterday.
Oh, I
on
have to check that
TikTok.
out.
That's awesome.
How do you feel about it?
I was naked on there, just
Oh,
kidding.
shoot.
I'm joking. So tell me. So I want to know what, if you're somebody that is obviously bringing value is important, and we have like things like bringing value, showing proof of, of results that you've had for clients or whatever else. What are some of the things that, viral content, what would you say is kind of the one thing that you think this is something that could make somebody take a quantum leap on their social media?
I think it's all about authenticity, because on social media you can show people what you want to show, and I think a lot of people are afraid to just put content out there, right? So that's why they're always scrolling every single day. They're a consumer, not a creator. But I think as creators we gotta, share like what's the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that's going on, and be open and vulnerable with like, maybe losing a big deal or making that leap from 9 to 5 to go for your entrepreneurial dreams, or getting fired or losing a job. People want to hear those stories. So I think if people use those types of content, it's going to really resonate with people.
And are they going to get rid of the likes?
Maybe. Yeah, they're testing it out in 6 countries.
happening.
So it's probably happening.
I can't wait for that. I'll post all day, but
Yeah.
it's like so much pressure to like sit
I
there
know, right?
and do
Yeah.
everything.
I feel you.
Well, thank you, Zach, for shedding a light on Instagram and a sistergram. Please tell everyone where they can follow you, and work with you.
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Zach Vacay. Every day is vacation. I'm always traveling. And then my website is assistagram.us. So.
But we want to know, are
Yeah.
you dancing still at all?
Yeah, so I've recently got back into it. I'm taking better care of myself, getting back in shape, and starting to just teach workshops again.
Okay, so like you can teach me break dancing and Instagram. It's
Yes, I should teach you how to freeze or something. You're awesome. It'd be dumb.
Yes, you'll have to check out the Insta stories
Yeah.
for that.
Okay,
right?
let's do it.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow. Good morning, La La Land.
Can you watch the stories of people changing the world? EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
That's one thing. When my husband and I, we were both like very depressed, but one thing that's helped us like kind of recover or snap out of it was to make the decision to go out and carry on her legacy and trying to help the rest of the world. In fact, my husband, he goes to work, he has a desk. One pile of papers, he says, makes money. The other one, big pile of papers, saves lives. So he took the one pile of papers and gave it to his top executives, said, you run the company. My mission in life is to go out and save lives.
I love
So that's what we're doing now.
And the way that you're actively getting in there. Like it's not you're not just but you putting yourself out there and the husband, going to DC, doing this thing, it's like you're actually getting in the trenches. And that's important.
EverTalk is #community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere at EverTalk TV.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La. On Transformation Tuesday, one of the greatest things that has transformed so many people's lives is meditation. We have Raj Tree in the house, Patel.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you're a
you so
meditation
much.
expert.
I am. I actually just have a book that just came out October 1st called The Power of Vital Force. And I've been listening to all the speakers, and it's amazing what you're talking about. And just from a transformation in terms of my own sort of trauma and post-traumatic growth. For me, it's always been around, who am I? I, like the prior individual, came from Uganda to India. Both my parents are Indian. Idi Amin, the last king of Scotland, because of him, the military coup, my parents landed in New York as a refugee. And so you come to this, from a little town, rural India, to New York City. You don't know what to expect. And at that time, nobody knew the country of India or people from India. So this whole sense of bullying, identity, minority, all the different elements that come into a young person's life came in all at once. And my biggest lesson, and of course these challenges still go on for everybody in their life, including myself, but one of my biggest lessons is sometimes you have to get out of your own way because life has a bigger plan for you than all you're doing, pushing, shoving, and I gotta stay on, and the drive. Of course it's necessary, but we forget that we're part of a bigger picture and there is a bigger plan.
I can't imagine what that was like. I can't imagine. It must have been so frightening to be in a big city and all that. Was there an actual moment where you went, I have to decide, I've got to persevere?
Yeah, so here's an interesting thing. We lived on the 4th floor and we would run downstairs to play. And as soon as we saw somebody, because where I grew up, everyone looks like me. It's a homogeneous place, right? And you are in New York, in the Bronx no less, and you see everybody, you know, African American, Caucasian, Italian, you see everybody shape and size. So the moment I would see someone walking by, I would run upstairs, 4 flights of stairs. And I kept doing that. And at one point, my dad stopped me and said, you have to go and say hello to them. So it was this moment of realizing I have to face what comes to me and not avoid and not run. And it's somehow an automatic response for us. We seem to run away from what appears difficult. And the simplest thing is jump right in. And when he did that, I thought, okay. And he said, I'll be behind you, go. So we always need that little extra sort of nudge, go. So I went downstairs, and the first person I saw was this African-American man with this...
I'm actually 100% Caucasian.
No, but big afro, you know? And I was this 10-year-old, like, what do I do now? I was so... And I was born in Uganda, but I had no memory of it, and everything was overwhelming. And as he came up to me, my father nudged me, and I said, I'm Rajshri. And my father said I should say hello to you. And then the next thing I know is we started having a big conversation. A good humor truck went by. He bought me an ice cream. And that opened up the whole world to say, I belong the moment I choose to belong. Until then, I remain alien, you know, foreign to myself, actually. You know.
I love the way you described it, and I think it's a great metaphor, actually, for what meditation really is. So can you describe a little bit sort of what led you to meditation and how that metaphor...
So that's another one of those universe things. I was working here in Los Angeles. I was a prosecutor, no less, at the LADA's office. And before that, the U.S. Attorney's office. I'd moved from New York to LA because of my job. I was looking to meet somebody, you know, like, okay, I'm in a new city, new place again. And I saw a sign that said Pandit Ravi Shankar, thinking it was a musician. It was a famous sitar player at the time. Thinking I'm going to a music concert, I went. And when I arrived, it was a spiritual man from India, Sri Ravi Shankar. And I was curious. I said, okay, I'm going to stay. Just that same lesson. You got to lean into what comes to you rather than run away from it. And so I stayed, and I went through a weekend program, happiness program, 9 hours. And that turned another direction for my life. And I left law back in '89. And since then, I've been traveling around the world, 35 years, you know, 35 countries later. Here I am. And really, meditation is, in the simplest sense, not empty your mind, not sit in a lotus position, not figure out all these things, but just the acceptance of this is how it is now, and it can be different. If you even just start with that much, you empower yourself. You start to go inside out.
Well, let's talk about the power, the power of vital force. What is the power of vital force?
Vital force is your innate energy, the life force that we come into the world with, which we need. We know simple physics. Everything is energy. Everything requires energy, but we've never put it together that our mind is the one thing that exhausts us more than anything. It's our biggest energy hog. And when that mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy is low, we see everything half empty. The glass is never going to be full. Even if it is full, you're going to find problems in it. And so vital force is a way to juice up build up the innate life force that we're born with, like kids, right? A 5-year-old, if they were here, all of us could play with them. We'd be exhausted, and they'd have a lot of prana.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah,
your journey.
happy to
This
be
is
here.
So
Thank you.
inspiring. Please tell everyone where they can find out how to work with you and get your book.
So everybody can follow me on By Rajshree, BYRAJSHREE, long name, RAJSHREE. And they can just go to The Power of Vital Force for my website. Great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Success
Yeah.
without self-care
Happy
is
to be here.
sacrifice, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Energetic self-care. We are Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. All of today's interviews are available as a podcast on iTunes, and the whole show is streaming on EverTalk TV, on Apple TV, and Roku.
That's right. We're waking up the world together. You guys have a beautiful transformation Tuesday, and make it happen.
It's going to be a good morning, La La Land.
Thank you.